What's up, guys? Hype here today. Just bringing you a director's commentary or kind of just breakdown of my latest edit with Felix. So let's get started. So we start out with the title sequence, and for all of these letters, I'm using Saber by Video Copilot. So for this one, it's just typed out, Hype Presents, applied Saber, and made it this kind of electric blue to kind of fit with the Zealot kind of background that we're going in here. Next one, still on Zealot, but we're going more with a kind of a wispy kind of galaxy feel. All these are, of course, motion tracked in. For the panning, also motion tracked. This one instead is kind of a white to kind of fit with ice on Prisoner. And we have these two snipers. These are 3D models I pulled off the internet. I applied trap code particular to them and kind of went with this icy look to again kind of fit with the theme of Prisoner. Nothing too crazy here. This one we're on Reflection. This is the Chinese character for buy, or at least that's what Google Translate said it was. And nothing crazy for this one. Just kind of going to the next one. So the theme of this video, or the idea that was Felix's, was Shang-Chi. So my last edit my last two edits ago, Liftoff, was kind of Spider-Man themed. So this one was this is like Shang-Chi themed, so saying that kind of Marvel Cinematic Universe. So that's kind of what these Chinese characters are. So this is the Chinese character, or Felix said this was the Chinese character for his name, so we used that one. And then we have these kind of rings. Of course, these are just the rings on the bottom middle of Countdown that I masked out and kind of, messed with the scale to kind of give them to look cool. And this song is kind of like this first song is a J. Cole song. It's an instrumental, but it's very kind of like peaceful, I would say. We're just going to go through. So I'm not going to talk about the clips. These are Felix clips. They're, crazy. Like this 2-for-1 over, Extremis into Tross's nuts. But I'm going to talk about some of the issues that I ran into. So first of all, just using MCC means you're almost always going to have to stage clips. All of these are angles. These angles are all staged. So these are all me running around, which is already annoying enough. But the other annoying thing is, of course, that Felix capped all of the clips, and then I'm capping all the angles. The colors for our capturing didn't really match up. I'm using the Xbox Series X DVR system, and I'm not sure how he captures his clips, to be honest. But they were in 1080p as opposed to 4K, so either Xbox One DVR or a capture card. So I had to really mess with individual angles to get the colors to kind of match up right with some curves and brightness, hue, and saturation, that kind of stuff. The other thing is I did use the detail preserving upscale effect on all these clips, try to get them up to 4K as best as possible. The angles were already 4K, but the clips themselves, I kind of wanted to up the resolution. So this transition, this is a really basic color key, because these kind of blue, I don't know what to call them, like lift kind of colors are very, very different than the background. Than this background. You can see it's really easy to apply a color key and leave all this light blue and get rid of everything else in the background. So they kind of just mask in, everything else fades in, and then you're going to see the brightness kind of increase and kind of go up, and that's Saber kind of going up these middle ones as he lifts. So that's not in the actual map itself. Okay. One thing I wanted to really worry about the syncing of this is that the song is very repetitive. So first of all, I cut the song down; it's much shorter, but also it I wanted to kind of vary up the syncing so it wasn't so like on every single beat there was a snipe shot. Of course, I replaced all the audio. So this transition was a really simple mask. So basically, there's an angle of this part of Powerhouse, and I just masked out this the kind of white portion of this symbol. So I have it spin, and then as it slows down, the rest of it kind of fades in, and then the angle kind of goes on. This clip is nutty, and this angle afterwards was one of the most, not frustrating, but I don't know, one of the last things that we did, because it was just so difficult to come up with what I wanted, because like this is where the song really changes. So I didn't want to just go more clips, so I really wanted to have kind of a cinematic feel to it, but there was a lot of trial and error here. So first of all, this is where the guy is, way over here. So just shout out to that, shot's ridiculous. So I kind of positioned the Spartan about where it was. I think he's more like over here actually, but when you snipe him, the body kind of falls, so I think that's where his body would have landed. So I have kind of a chromatic aberration. You can see the colors on the edges are starting to split into the red RGB, and kind of a heat wave distortion effect on the background. And then I've got of course the montage for the first song then goes in reverse to kind of give this kind of dreamy kind of feel for it. And then we have down here, we kind of have an angel leaving the body of the dead Spartan. So these wings will come back later, of course. It fades out. And then we enter the last clip of the first song, which is a ridiculous 2v2 custom clip-on sync. Getting the sync on this right was pretty difficult. A lot of timing mapping, trying to hide it so it doesn't look like weird and slow down and sped up in different parts. Okay, so the next song, this is the kind of the title song, I guess you would call it. It's kind of the theme, Shang-Chi, so this is like an alternate version of the song, of like the main title song of the movie. So first things first is I added this kind of flare right here in the middle. You can see it kind of, as like the song kind of starts, there's like a first beat, and this kind of shoots up. So I'll just kind of go back so you can kind of like that. Simple kind of just like back and forth between the angles. And so this song has a lot of beats, kind of making it very difficult. But I also wanted to use those beats as cut points on angles to really kind of draw a lot of suspense for the shots. Because I didn't want there to be a lot of clips, make a super fast pace. I wanted to kind of like space them out. So like stuff like this could have been beats for shots, but I went with angles instead to kind of show, okay, well, he's way over here, and the next guy we're going to shoot is way over on the other side of the map. Kind of build some anticipation there. And then you start with the angle, see where he is. Okay, he's standing up here. You can barely see his head, but as you zoom out, as we kind of do this cut, so you can see kind of how I kind of blended those together. Basically, it's just a single angle of me going back, and then I've cut it at different parts and kind of spliced it together with some motion blur and some scaling. Just kind of go to the next one. And by the time you're at this one, you're like, I can't even see his head. And then you still go back out another one. So you can see the same exact kind of cut there. And you're like, wow, I definitely cannot see his head. And then it kind of fades into Felix's point of view. Again, trying to get these to line up was difficult, but I think I ended up doing a pretty good job of kind of switching from angles to first person, because these of course are all staged. So you can see that even when you can like look zoomed in, I mean, his head like barely visible. Okay, just really simple. Again, with the kind of Chinese characters, kind of Shang-Chi vibe, really wanted to bring that in, since we're going back to reflection. Unfortunately, this clip, the over exterm metal, did not show, but it is an exterm, so into the kill tack. So this is a effect that I use quite a bit on spawners. I use it another time later in this video. You can see that instead of spawning in all at once, he kind of spawns in from the bottom and up. So that's not how you actually spawn in Halo Reach. Basically, the idea is you take you have your camera and you just leave it stationary, and then so you have your background plate, this basically of just reflection, and then you have the spawning in of the Spartan, and then you can basically just put a mask and have it switch between the back plate. So like in this spot right here, you can see this kind of line where the Spartan is spawning in. Everything below this line is from the plate of the Spartan spawn, and everything above this line is from the original background plate. So you can kind of blend between the two. This angle was an absolute pain. So like I said, it's Master Chief Collection, you have to stage all your angles. I like to stage my angles by myself. I know it could be done with other people faster, but I'm kind of looking for very specific things, and I usually stage kind of randomly whenever because I don't like scheduling it, just because I don't know, I just kind of do it whenever I feel like it, and I don't like staging a lot, so sometimes it'll be random times. But basically for this one, I had to stick myself, so I threw a sticky grenade against the wall, stuck myself. As that happened, picked up the flag and then walked, and it took me quite a few times because the time that it takes from the stick to hit you and then explode is pretty small, so getting the timing right was kind of a pain. So there you go. So I think this was the kind of the favorite effect of the video, at least Zonda's. I know during his premiere, it was the first thing I did in the video. Like before I did any singing, this was when I would listen to the song. I was like, I just visualized. I literally listened to the video or to the song, and then I looked through all of Felix's clips, and I'm like, what is the kind of longest range shot for like the final kill? And it was either this or it was the overkill on Hang 'em High, kind of near the beginning, and I went with this one. Just because I thought I could get the rings really looking cool here. So a few things. First of all, again, Shang-Chi was the kind of the vibe for this one. So the Shang-Chi and the 10 rings, so they're kind of yellow and blue. So that's what those are for. There some things you might notice if you look a little closely. So, you go for this first overkill. So, kind of switching between trying to get everything to line up. It's okay. So you can see the cuts to try to get go with the beat. So when you get up close, you'll notice that the Spartan that was killed for the overkill is no longer there. His body is gone. It's just the staging thing. I did this before I did the overkill, and trying to get me in here twice, it just wasn't. I don't think anybody really noticed it, but yeah, it's just a little I don't know, mistake, Easter egg, whatever you want to call it. And so this is Saber, as usual. So basically, each of these rings is actually 2 rings placed on top of each other. One is yellow, and one is blue. So they kind of alternate which one's kind of the brighter one. So you gotta start with the yellow and then go blue. So you can see for this one, yellow is the bright one, and then blue is kind of the energy that comes off of it. And this next one, it's blue, and you kind of see some of this yellow energy coming off of it, and then kind of back and forth. So these are, of course, all motion tracked in place. The other thing when you're doing with motion tracking is you have to also mask them if things get in their way. So you can see these kind of like diagonal kind of pillars that are in or rails that are on Boardwalk. You can see when it gets in front of this blue ring, I actually had to mask it out so that it is behind that railing. And then this one as well. So you can see this other blue one gets kind of occluded. and blocked. So this is actually an effect that I've been thinking about for quite a long time, and I just adopted it for the Shang-Chi vibe, this kind of ring, going through rings effect. So it was really cool being able to use it, and I'm glad that people enjoyed it. Also a crazy shot, of course. Crap. Back to some ridiculous clips. So this is another area where staging angles is annoying. So one of the things I hate about staging angles is that the map looks so kind of empty. There's like no weapons, random weapons on the ground, people that die. There's no bodies. There's no Spartans. So you can see well, first thing you can see here on Big Door, there's a blue Spartan that just spawns in. But when I switch to the staged angle, of course he's not there. And neither is the red teammate over here on the left. It's just, kind of how it works with staging angles. I would prefer to have the original done this and kind of done the transition, maybe gone to an empty map like here. So you can see kind of how you go in between them. It's just basically scale, motion blur, opacity changes, and then maybe switch to the other clip like here. But anyway, so you can see kind of it's a switch to POV. You can see, and this is, there you go. I thought it was a pretty good, so you can see this is my staged angle, this clip right here, or this frame right here. And then it actually, you can see like with the Spartan in the background that's jumping, he's not there here, but then he fades in here. So like that is where the transition to the real clip is. So I did a really good job, I think, on that one. You can see the yellow line here on like the rocket moves very, very slightly, but everything else looks really good. So I'm very proud of that. And so, yeah, so Felix has a lot of, not to say a lot, 5 or 6 of these single snipes are all really good. I couldn't really fit most of them in, but this was the one that I thought was the best and really fit with this like transition of trying to staying on the same map and just moving. And so this is another one where I had to switch to a staged angle. And every time you run out of a first person to an angle, it can be difficult. So this one, again, the transition's not perfect, but you do it as he's moving, as he's looking right, and like it kind of blurs a little bit. So when you come in here, this is Saber, and so this is not Shang-Chi, but this is Loki. This is another Marvel series that Felix wanted me to kind of draw inspiration from. So we have kind of this like orange portal that they use in Loki, and then you kind of bring in sword base, go through the portal. I thought that was a pretty cool transition to the door. And then here, of course, we just have a kind of really simple mask of kind of going out of the sword base lift into the sword base clip. And this is my favorite part of the entire montage right here. Well, I do like this transition, but this is not what I'm talking about. This is just a rotoed Spartan, so he wipes. And you can't really see it very well in real time, but you can see when his foot kind of lifts for a few frames. So it's really, really nice edge right here of the Spartan kind of wiping the screen, but you can see like right there, you kind of get this kind of janky edge for a few frames, but you can't even notice it in real time. But yeah, he just, comes up, wipes the screen. So this clip is ridiculous. I didn't even know you could do this, to be honest. So he just shoots right through the wall for the overkill headshot. So the effect for this, again, this is Loki. The kind of the orange portal. So I wanted to shoot, he shot through the wall, but I wanted people to see kind of what was on the other side. So again, staged angle of a Spartan standing there, kind of moving around a little bit. This is hand tracked. I tried to motion track this using, the Adobe built-in software did not work. Really, motion tracking things in first person in general is very difficult. So it's motion tracked in by hand, and of course it is masked out. So the Spartan or the sniper is in front of it and doesn't the portal isn't in front of the sniper. That'd be kind of weird. So of course this is all masked out frame by frame. So yeah, this is hand tracked. So if you see any kind of on slow-mo, any kind of weirdness with it, that's why I tried to keep it. You can see you have kind of really nice edges on the wall. I tried to keep it there so that it stayed really nice, and then also the fact that it's there pretty quickly kind of also makes it difficult. Inside the actual, or not difficult, makes it it sells the effect because it's kind of quick and it doesn't linger too long. Inside the actual portal, so we have Saber on the outside. On the inside, the few red giant universe effects, we have some chromatic aberration to kind of give it kind of a portal-y kind of distortion look, and then also some camera, what do they call it, like the lens, not fog, but kind of, how a camera lens sometimes gets a little beat up, so it's not pristine, so you have little scratches and that kind of stuff on it, again trying to make it look a little portal-y. Okay, so then it wipes back down to the clip. He shoots right through the wall, and then we transition to the next song. So the color correction switches over to the Kanye song, and then we go through here. This door kind of glitches out and transitions to Asylum. And you can see, of course, this sniper is all masked out frame by frame to kind of, so that all this kind of works. And then it zooms in and kind of brings the actual angle in. So this is my favorite part of the entire montage. That all the way from the portal and Felix's shot to the wall through the transition to Asylum and the song change. Oh, I love that. Again, another staged angle here. Let's see if I can see how good this one was. So this is the staged angle, and then zooming in, and that's the actual angle. It did its job. The switch to POVs with the stage angles are a pain, especially in motion. So this clip, if you didn't know, I think on the premiere Zonda kind of explained it. To do this, you have to push and hold 5 buttons on your controller to put your weapon down. So you can see that the sniper is not out. And then just for the overkill, no scopes this guy across the map. So this is more than just a regular no scope overkill. So it's really, really nice. Animation angle. Clip is pretty nutty. He kind of shoots before the guy even comes out. Okay, so this is the kind of thumbnail effect. So when he goes up the lift, it's very difficult to see because it's 2 frames, but the lift itself actually wipes. So you can see the lift, when he goes through the lift, it wipes. This is actually pretty straightforward. Basically, I took so how you get the angle is really important. You need to do the angle where the Spartan, you're still attached to the Spartan. You know what I'm saying? It's not a free roaming camera. It's next to the Spartan. What that means is the Spartan is going to stay stationary in the same spot in your frame. So you just take an angle if the Spartan going up the lift in that way. Then what you can do is you can actually just draw one mask. So the Spartan is not moving, and it's just the background that's moving. So I just drew one mask around the Spartan. I used some camera lens blur to blur the background, to kind of give it kind of a cinematic feel. And the Spartan stays in focus. You then have these wings. These wings are just JPEGs that I pulled off the internet from somewhere. I duplicated them to give it kind of this dual kind of wing vibe. And then of course gave it some motion, so it's just some rotation. And then a little bit of, I believe, some glow and chromatic aberration to give it some really cool kind of like wisps coming off of them. So it was a pretty simple effect, but I think, you know, with the song saying too high, this was really one of the first things, again, I kind of envisioned. So the other part is, so again, we're kind of in this like dreamy kind of vibe, so we kind of have the too high, kind of talking about the wings. You can see even the color correction, there's again more chromatic aberration where the edges are kind of blurred. So when he goes up the lift, you kind of get this deja vu that comes into the scope. That's basically because when he goes around, the pillar wipes. So I'm sure you guys probably caught this, but when he goes around the pillar, it wipes them going back up the lift again the second time. And then in the scope, you kind of get this like glitchy kind of deja vu comes up, and then it goes away. And that's, of course, that's also hand tracked again, because it's motion tracking with the kind of the Adobe software for that just doesn't work. Again, more of this dreamy kind of thing. So this is just RGB split. So basically, mask out the Spartan frame by frame, duplicate the layer twice, and then use set channels so that you have a red, you have a blue, and you have a green channel for the Spartan, and then you can kind of use some wiggle and some blur to kind of give them this kind of glitchy, kind of dreamy vibe. So you can see it comes through. Last clip. This task shot is deceptively ridiculous. But first I'll kind of start with the angles. So I got an angle there, kind of basic. So this one is same idea as before with the reflection spawning in. So we kind of have this Spartan spawning in. I also added for this one some fined edges, and I also retimed it to kind of go with the song a little bit, so that it actually plays kind of not like at one time speed. It kind of like pauses for a little bit. It can kind of fit the song a little bit. Some fined edges, of course, to kind of give it this kind of, again, more dreamy kind of, I thought it kind of fit with the Zealot kind of vibe. The other thing with this one, of course, it's same thing. So you have the background image, and then you have the the Spartan spawning in with the mask that kind of goes up. And for of course, for the actual motion of the camera, that's just a scale and rotate. So you can kind of fake your scale and rotate, which is something that I didn't just learn with this video, but I use it a lot in this video, is stationary cameras in the Halo Reach theater, or maybe just a movement in one direction, kind of a pan. But then to get the actual zoom, I just do that in post. You just take, you have a 4K video, so you can zoom in like twice, down to 2x, and you're still gonna have a 1080p quality. So I've had no issue scaling up and giving some rotate to kind of make the angle look better. One mistake in this one, actually, is you can see that this guy has a pistol on his hip. I didn't realize this until I rendered it out. Even though this is shoddy snipers. So again, proof that this was all staged angles. So we're getting to the end. Again, this task shot is kind of ridiculous. Shooting over these humps is such a pain. Oh my god, great shot. Okay, and then just a fade out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Wasn't too crazy. Nothing. A few nice effects, I think, in here, but hopefully you kind of maybe learned something, or just my thought process for this video. This was a video that was very challenging personally, I guess. It's just I was losing a lot of motivation during the edit, and I had a lot of other stuff going on. So shout out to Felix for waiting for, I think this took about 3.5 or 4 months to put together start to finish. So that was a long time for him to wait. So appreciate if you guys stuck around for the entire 30-minute video. Sorry about the length. I'll put or if you, I think I'm gonna put some like timestamps in the description. So if you guys just flip through the effects that you're interested in, that's cool too. So I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.